everybody, it's me, not in the gulag. And, yes, I am back. Sorry I have not had the motivation to, actually live stream on YouTube or post on YouTube. And I know if I continue to, live stream or post videos on YouTube, that content will suffer, so I didn't want to do it. Now with that out of the way, to the main point. And the main point is I have a disliking on how game theory or MatPat does things because MatPat is the one behind game theory, film theory, and the newer one, film. No, not film. Food theory. Film, food, and game theory. And I need to provide a little bit of context. Is that, um, or I should disclaim first, is that I know MatPat is one man, one person, and that I know he can't be like an expert in everything. I don't expect him to be, but it's just something I want to talk about. Now, for the context, is that this kind of thing I've been aware of. I should say aware of, but I've kind of wanted to talk about, and that is that some of his research, especially from what I know, um, that I'm familiar with. I'm 18. I'm about to go off to college. I'm not an expert in anything. But what I'm familiar with is stuff like blacksmithing, and I am learning Spanish right now, which are going to be the two topics that I kind of bring up. And kind of the blacksmithing part is important for this context, which is a while ago, MatPat released a video. I forgot if it was on game theory or film theory, but one of the main talking points in the video was of the kind of weaponry medieval or medieval like settings used, and obviously you would have to talk about he talked about medieval times or some era around the medieval era or before, and generally his research on the weapons that were used and how they were used. I should say more specifically on how they're used because I can't remember if those are the weapons specifically themselves. Um, that a lot of other YouTubers who are, far more knowledgeable about this kind of stuff than me, like Shadiversity and Metatron, two good examples, kind of talked about it as in just trying to civilly correct him. And so something like that I've been aware of for a while now, as some things, specifically probably more likely than not non-scientific stuff, MatPat may have some trouble with the research with that. And as I said, I'm learning Spanish. Obviously, I was born and grew up here in America, so I am not fluent in Spanish by any means, but I am learning Spanish, and I am fairly familiar with this language now. Sorry for that weird F in the familiar thing. I don't know why that happened, um, but this last thing was far more recent than that, and that is when he made his or released his video on Encanto. If you don't know Encanto, it's a Disney animated movie that came out last year in 2021, but came out on Disney Plus and now has a lot more popularity than it did when it was not on Disney Plus. And it's the reason why I bring this up is that he said something. He was touching on the theory that Abuelo's soul went into the candle or created the candle or something like that, and that the magic was basically Abuelo's soul. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can watch the movie. I don't want to spoil anything. You can watch the movie or go get a summary from somewhere else. However, I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it and still want to watch it. But there's a few things that, or there's specifically one thing that pokes out of my mind that, well, it stands out in the sense that it's kind of how he worded it. It's kind of easy how he meant it. That he was diving into the endings and various things in the movie that seem to have these supernatural properties. If you like the candle that I mentioned, and the house, which the house is magical. If that's not really a spoiler, but for those who haven't watched the movie, house is magical, and it's referred to as casita, like house. And he said, well, the theory probably isn't true. That the theory that Abuelo Soul, who died, went into or created the candle. That is, the candle is called Encanto. And something about that just, I don't know. I dislike it because one is the casita, which gets its power from the Encanto. What I should say the reasoning why he said the theory isn't true and how it relates to the house. See, in Spanish, if you don't know, there are gendered versions of words. If a word ends in an A, it's feminine, and if it ends in an O, then it's masculine. Now, you might notice something. Encanto, which refers to the candle or the magic that supposedly the theory surrounds itself upon, Abuelo died and his spirit or his ghost or whatever you want to call it goes into the candle or creates it. And the other side of it, not the theory, but what MatPat pointed out, which is that casita, which I dislike how he said it. He said it as in similarly to, well, actually I don't remember what he specifically said, but what I do remember is he kind of tried to discredit the theory that, like I've laid out, because casita ends in an A. Obviously, Abuelo established, he's a man. O ending. He's the grandfather. If you don't know, Abuelo means grandfather, and that casita ends in A, which is feminine, and so the masculine and feminine don't really match up. The reason why I don't really like it is because in Encanto, the magic or the candle, whatever you want to exactly pin it down as, is a no, which, matches up with the Abuelo, both masculine, and so that there's a few other smaller things, but that's the one thing that really points out to me. I know it's kind of nitpicky, but hey, his kind of made his video around it, so. And plus, I'm a small YouTuber, like, I'm probably not going to change anything. So, that's basically what I've wanted to make the video on. So, yeah, for those who are, now since I got the main point out of the way, for those who are wondering where I've been, it's kind of Twitch. I've actually started picking up Twitch, streaming on Twitch a little bit more. Uh, so a lot of the stuff that just recently been happening in, I wouldn't say personal life, but just like general, like just content creation for me, is on Twitch in the past like 1 or 2 weeks or the last few weeks. Then go to Twitch, same username, so non-gulag. You can find me on Twitch pretty easily, same as my YouTube name. So yeah, that's all I really have. So I will talk to y'all later. Please like, subscribe, and share the video. Bye.